Hi friends and welcome back. Today we are here to watch season 5 episode 3 of Buffy. It is called The Replacement. I did say I thought this was going to be a Buffy centric episode just because so far season 5 has been focusing a lot on Buffy and it's like the beginning of the season. We're still trying to figure stuff out and it seems to be like a Buffy centric season because the entire topic of it is Slayers, right? My mind goes to two things. The first one would be that we have to talk about this character that just appeared in the previous episode. Every time I think about her, I want to laugh. I don't know why. I think it's just like it makes me so confused that I don't know how to like react. But there's this sort of sister character who seemed to be in the intro for the previous episode. So now I think we have to figure out if that was sort of like a joke for the episode or if she's actually part of the intro now, if she's actually joining the show. It all felt like an alternative universe kind of thing because as far as I remember, Buffy has always been like an only child. So this sister coming out of nowhere and them saying that she's always been there has been incredibly confusing for me. So I hope we sort of get to address that a little so that I can understand where did this girl come from? Where is she going? Like, what is going on there? So maybe the replacement has something to do with that. Or maybe we did see Faith in the end of 201 of Angel. And that leads me to think that maybe Faith and Buffy might be having a talk sometime soon. Just because I feel like since this entire season seems to be focusing on like the reasonings behind the Slayer, like what made them the Slayer and those kind of things, it seems like some sort of like existential questions that of course apply to Buffy, but also to Faith, and I don't want them to forget her. And it doesn't seem like they have because they just showed her very briefly in Angel. So maybe the replacement could have something to do with, I don't know, Faith stepping in for Buffy or something like that. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. She's in jail, but listen, a girl can live in denial. So we should watch the episode. I thank you all so much for watching this with me. I hope you have fun, hope you enjoy, and let's do it, I guess.
Huh. Guess the folks are back. No, I was wrong. Just incompetent burglars.
Oh my god, are we gonna get to see Xander's parents, like, talk to them, sort of?
Yeah, maybe it's definitely time to start looking for a new place.
Something a little nicer. Buffy, you been to hell. They had one bedrooms, right?
Oh, give me a break. This is all wrong. See, first you would get the big guy, like a flying kick. Then you would take it off little ones. Bam, bam. See, now with the flying kick, from a dead stop, and what's powering it, raw enthusiasm?
Hey, Buff, maybe you ought to leave the work behind sometimes.
I love her!
Oh, yeah, she's all like, what's that? A cauldron? Who uses a cauldron anymore?
Oh, fuck.
The last step in my forging is my pain. The price with which I purchase the death of the Slayer.
Oh my god, can everybody stop trying to kill Buffy? We just need to stop. Let's see if the sister is still in the credits, or if that was just a fluke. Okay. So I'm back to Confusion Land. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know what this means, but okay, I guess.
It's nice.
How can he afford that?
It's very above Turanian.
I want it. Pay anything.
You do have your own place.
So when I want to visit you, I have to be in that awful basement?
Not forever. Just until things
Oh
come
my god,
together.
they have to move in together.
Because right now, things are looking pretty untogether.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that.
Miscellaneous curses. That is a fertility god. Feeble man, you are not likely to strike back.
Okay, go Giles.
Oh, very nice. I was on your side. Watch out.
Oh my god, Xander! Holy shit! What did he throw on Xander? Like, that's not good. How is he fine?
Take it slowly.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Please tell me they're gonna realize that's not Xander.
Oh my god. What?
That must be so
No.
confusing.
Who is...
Me? What am I doing in there?
Buffy. Need Buffy.
Oh fuck. See, now they're gonna know that he's not Xander. Look at how he's dressed. Don't waste your quarter. Fuck my life. They're being very kissy this episode. It's gotta mean bad, right? What is she still doing there?
My friend Sharon's older brother knows a girl who died because she choked on her boyfriend's tongue.
Go away, Dawn.
I'm not in your room. I'm in the hallway.
Oh, Slayer. One of these days.
Okay. I see.
How long you work here, Harris?
I'm
A
not
little head!
About 3 months?
I guess, yeah.
I was thinking that I'd have you head up our interior carpentry crew. See how it goes. It's more responsibility, but the pay's better.
I was going to call you, Mr. Harris, let you know your
Oh,
credit checked
no.
out fine, but I really didn't think you'd be back.
Mr. Harris. Yeah, right.
Bad idea.
I won't let you do this! You can't do this to me! It stole my face. We have to find it, and we have to kill it.
She's here to stop me. Please, Buffy.
They know,
Resist
they
the
know.
spell. Do this for me.
Don't worry, Xander. Whatever stole your face, it has to deal with the Slayer now.
Okay, well, things aren't looking too great, but I know that they're gonna know who the real Xander is.
Don't be scared, Will. Just listen. It's me, Xander. And I can prove it.
Okay.
Let's see. Stuff only you and me know.
You have to help me figure this out, you know.
But I never help. I get in trouble and Buffy saves me.
That's not true. Sometimes we all help to save you. And
That's-
sometimes you're not in trouble.
This demon, he's like taking my life and everyone's treating him like a grown-up. Well, I'm starting to feel like
Like what?
he's doing everything better. He's smarter and I don't know, maybe I should just let him have it. Take my life, please.
Xander.
Xander!
You're just tired and all soggy.
No way, he can take anything, but he can't have her. I need her.
Really?
He can be with her right now. Figure out a spell, something reveal-y. I gotta find her.
Xander.
Hey, wait till you have an evil twin. See how you handle it.
She already did, Doppelgangland, bruh.
I handled it fine.
Right?
What happens next in our lives? When do we get a car?
A car.
And a boat? No, wait, I don't mean a boat. I mean a puppy. Or a child. I have a list somewhere.
What are you talking about?
Just, we have to get going. I don't have time just to let these things happen.
There's no hurry.
Yes, there is. There's a hurry, Xander. I'm dying.
What? No, you're not. I'm
My
gonna.
next few is 50 years left.
Oh, okay.
50
That
years.
scared me, ma'am.
Very soon, you won't be thinking about getting older.
I just wish this convo was happening with the real Xander because it's such an important convo. Oh.
Get away from her.
Oh.
Xander!
Oh.
Xander!
Get out. You don't belong here, Anya. It's me. It's a demon. He stole my face. He's trying to trick you.
I said, oh dear Lord.
You always say that.
Well, it's always important. Neither Xander is a demon. Splits one person into half, distilling personality traits into two separate bodies. As near as I can tell, Toth was attempting to split the Slayer into two different entities.
Oh my god.
Two Buffys?
Yes.
I want
One
two
with all
Buffys.
the qualities inherent in Buffy Summers, the other with everything that belongs to the Slayer alone. And when it hit Xander, I think it separated him into his strongest points and his weakest.
But which one's the real one?
They're both real. They're both Xander. Neither one of them is evil. There's nothing in either of them that our Xander didn't already possess.
Oh, interesting.
Don't worry, Anya. I'll get rid of this thing. I'm thinking this is gonna last about 15 seconds. I'm thinking less.
Where did that come from? Holy shit, Xander.
No, don't shoot him!
Oh, he's still gonna get kicked out of the apartment.
Instead of having Slayer Buffy, you could have Buffy Buffy.
I have Buffy. But being the Slayer is part of who you are. You keep thinking I don't get that, but if you lived a perfectly normal life, you wouldn't be half as crazy as you are. I gotta have that. I gotta have it all. I'm talking toes, elbows, the whole bad ice skating movie obsession, everything. There's no part of you I'm not in love with.
That's so cute.
Okay, Xander. You've been split in two, but you're both Xander, and you can't kill each other. I mean, well, you could, but it'd be really bad.
No way. He can't be me. He's all fancy.
I will not miss again, Slayer.
The gun! Pick up the little gun pieces.
He's hiding behind other Xander.
Psychologically, this is fascinating. Doesn't it make everyone want to lock them in separate rooms and do experiments on them? Just me, then.
Riley, we need to not.
Well, what do we do if it doesn't work?
Kill us both, Spock.
I love that they're like best friends.
Yes, he's clearly a bad influence on himself.
Hey, someone in the goddess. Chant the chant. Are you sure you know how to do this?
Here we go.
She's so confident. I love that.
Let the spell be ended.
You gotta be kidding. Let the spell be ended. That's not gonna work.
Oh my god, really?
Oh.
When I'm with her, it's like I'm split in two. Half me is just on fire, going crazy if I'm not touching her. The other half is so still and peaceful, just perfectly content. Just knows this is the one.
That's so cute.
But she doesn't love me.
What? Okay, that's interesting that Riley would notice that, and that's okay. We have to unpack that. Let's talk about the actual episode. Even though it was very Monster of the Week, I feel like some conversations that happened here are like very big, very important. You know, Anya growing old, Buffy not being in love with Riley, Xander's like sort of self-doubts, and you know, just seeing Giles in the shop and how Willow has become really comfortable with magic. You know, there's like a lot to sort of unpack. I feel like I gotta start with this ending right here. I have been really enjoying them this season. I think I really have my ups and downs with Riley, but especially this episode, he was being such a gentleman. He was being so sweet. He was being so reassuring. Like, the way that he talks about Buffy is like as it should be. Like, he knows that she is a god and he treats her like she is a god, and I'm like, okay, good, because Buffy deserves somebody who understands how great she is. So I was like happy and like cool with that, but then now, you know, the fact that he says, and like the worst part is that like he's so certain about it that I think he's right when he says that Buffy doesn't love him. So I wonder, like, this actually feels like the end of Buffy and Riley, and I had a feeling it was coming for a while now, because I don't know, ever since the Doomed episode, I was like, they're doomed, they're going to end soon. And I knew that they were not going to be a couple that lasted all the way to the end of Buffy. So I knew that at some point they were going to have to end, even though I had no idea like what season, what moment. So I thought this was going to happen at the end of season 4 because, like I mentioned a billion times, I thought Riley was going to die. Because he didn't, and because he actually went to season 5, all my predictions were sort of thrown off. So it's interesting because I assumed that since things were going well, that maybe they would actually date through season 5 too. But now this really feels like it's the beginning of the end. No, actually, the beginning of the end has been happening for a long time. This really just feels like sort of the end of their relationship, which is kind of bumming me out a little now that I'm thinking about it. Because the way that he talked about her was just so damn sweet, and the way that she gave hard eyes at him was also sweet. But if he feels like she doesn't love him, I think he's on to something. I think that there's got to be a reason. I think that maybe she's more about just being happy, being loved, than actually loving him. So this is really interesting because I actually thought Buffy did love Riley. She seems like she's really into him, but maybe it's more about the idea of him and of having a boyfriend, of having somebody who loves her, than actually being in love with him as Riley. So this is like a little bit upsetting. I'm kind of shocked. I can't believe he noticed it. Like, I wonder what, like, it almost feels like it was the conversation in the car, right? But I thought that conversation was so great because we all sort of knew the conversation that Buffy wanted to have, because she has so much self-doubt. I swear to God. Like, that conversation in the car just reminded me of, like, why Buffy is my #1 favorite character. Like, there's just something about her that is so pure and sweet and innocent, and I hate how much she sort of hates being a Slayer. It's upsetting, but, you know, the fact that she, ever since she heard about the two different sides of Buffy, I feel like that just brings in something inside of her of really hating the Slayer side. But that's the thing that Riley was trying to comfort her about, like, that is Buffy though, like, you can't take that away. So I don't know, I thought that conversation was really, really interesting. And so I wonder how he got from that. Maybe it's the doubt. Maybe it's the fact that she was doubting that he would want to separate her, if that makes sense. I thought that conversation in the car was one of the more interesting ones that we had, because we had a few very interesting ones this episode, and that was one of them that stood out for me. Another one would be of Anya growing old, because for a second when she said she was dying, I thought she was sick, and I was ready to lose it. I was so concerned for like a second there. I'm glad she's not dying, but it is really interesting to sort of talk about this idea of an immortal becoming mortal and what it means to know that you're gonna die. And I feel like that's a conversation that is almost going to be brushed upon in Angel, because he has this desire to be human now. And I think that it's interesting because, like, in theory, that's sort of all Angel wants, to be able to live life as a human. But then in practice, it's like you're faced with the concept of death, which is not something you had to think about. And I feel like it probably becomes even scarier than just death for a regular person, because the death is going to hit so much harder when you've had so many thousands of years to live, or like hundreds or whatever. So it's interesting that we're talking about this, in regards to Anya, because I feel like we haven't talked a whole lot about her transition from being a demon to being a human. I think that we haven't had that much time to talk about Anya outside of Xander, and I think this episode was one of her first glimpses into what goes on in her head. We actually saw her sort of in her house, and we got to see that talk where she's being honest about the way that she's feeling and about her, fears about the future. And I think that that is like a rich conversation that I only hope we can have more and more. Like, this is not a concern that I had imagined she was going through, because we don't really focus on her like that. So I like that we got to focus on Anya for once. I have faith that this season is going to give me a lot of Anya, because, she's in the name, like her name's in the credits. So hopefully she's going to get a lot more screen time. The sister one was kind of important because it showed me that she's still there. So it showed me that my confusion still exists, because I really don't understand how the sister appeared out of nowhere, and everybody seems to know her and have a pre-existing relationship with her. There's something fucked up happening in Sunnydale, and I just want to understand what is it. I thought it was fun to see the sisters, sort of just because the dynamic in between them, I don't know, reminded me a lot of just life, because I am an older sister. I think I have mentioned this. I think my sisters have already said hi in my videos a few times. I feel like exploring sibling relationships, especially I guess between two girls, is very interesting for me, because I feel like I can relate to it in a lot of ways. I'm sure I'm gonna not relate to it in a lot of other ways too. I guess I'm excited to see where that goes, if it goes, because I honestly don't know. Like, it seems like they're leading up to a story regarding that. And the fact that also Giles's shop, like he actually bought the shop, it's still there, shows that the last episode was not a fluke. Because I was thinking maybe it was like a Jonathan style, like mass hallucination, you know, like alternative universe kind of shit. But it doesn't seem to be, because the repercussions of the previous episode are still there. So that's why, like I said, I'm a little bit confused, but it's fine. I'm sure I'm gonna understand it at some point. I'm worried that I already should have understood and I'm just being slow. But I guess there's not much I can do about that. So if I'm being stupid, I apologize profoundly, but that's just what you're signing up for in my videos, to be honest. Another very interesting sort of talk that happened this episode was about Xander, sort of his self-doubts. I thought it was so interesting when he was seeing like the other Xander. I don't know how to like describe them, like when sloppy Xander was seeing the other Xander, the dressed up Xander, sort of accomplishing everything, and he was like, how can he do that? And the only thing I could think of was like, no bro, you're the one who did this. Like, he is the one who has worked hard in the construction to get this promotion. He's the one who has gotten the money to be able to rent this apartment. You know, dressed up Xander was just doing the things that regular sort of Xander was able to accomplish. And I thought that it was such an interesting twist that both of them are Xander. I thought it was actually a very interesting way of approaching the subject, and double Xander was just really fun and entertaining, and seeing how he dealt with things. I love that he went to Willow. I mean, he did go to Buffy first, but I feel like it adds up that Willow would be the one to sort of be the first one to like help him, just because I feel like they do have not like a tighter relationship, but like a longer relationship. You know, they were talking about like his 7th birthday or something. Like whenever they talk about like the really childhood past, it makes me so happy, because it reminds me of like for how long they've known each other and for how long that relationship has, you know, existed. This was a good way for him to notice that there are 2 different sides inside of him, and that they can both exist at the same time. He doesn't have to be either or, he can be both, and that is Xander. So I do think that this might have been like a really big way to change the way that Xander sees himself, because he clearly has like some confidence issues and he doesn't really believe in himself that much. But I think that understanding how he can be who he wants to be while also being, you know, sort of a responsible guy who has a good job and a nice apartment, like all these things can coexist. And I think maybe seeing these 2 sides of him being separate has finally helped him understand that. I hope that this means good things for Xander. This episode felt like character progress for Xander, feels like he's growing. And also, Giles's job seems to be going somewhat well. I don't want to say well, because he did get attacked before the shop opened, but I'm trying to, again, ignore it. It seems like both of them are starting to get a life and starting to, I don't know, have a little bit something more, which is what I have been wanting for this season. So that's good, because even though we're only dealing with like sort of monsters of the week so far, at least there has been like actual character progress within those monsters of the week. Also, this is like so small, but in the end of the episode, when Xander asks Anya to sort of take something like a box and stuff, I actually thought for a second he was staying back to propose. I was waiting for him to pull out a ring or something, and I was like, oh my god. I don't know why I got that vibe, but I think that he did understand how serious his life sort of can be. And I think that Anya made her expectations like sort of clear. She was talking about kids and puppy, like she clearly sees a future with him. So I don't know why I got that vibe. I don't know if they're going to be leading towards a proposal sometime soon, but that would be really, I guess, cute. I got really excited for their future for a second. And lastly, the last thing I want to mention, other than, again, like I said, the lack of Tara, which is completely upsetting, really sad. Because this means, like, what this means to me is that they can just take her away from episodes, which is something I thought we were past. That concept makes me very upset, because I love Tara and I wish we could have seen her, but I'm trying not to focus only on that. What I was going to say is about Willow. I love how calm and collected she was this episode, especially regarding the spell and stuff. Granted, I know it was like a small spell, but just the way that she was handling things, and, you know, I don't think it was the first moment that I really saw her as a witch, but I think it was one of the first moments that I realized that, like, she is so powerful and just completely calmed by it. Like, I just feel like she's really growing into that part of her, that persona. And it was just exciting. I liked seeing how, like, there is no, like, preparation and anxiety about it. She's just, like, so used to it by now. And she's really good at what she's doing. So I'm excited for Willow. It feels like she's also really growing in that front. Like, there has been so much character progress with all these characters. And I'm excited to only see them grow, like, more and more, because it's always fun. Next episode is called Out of My Mind. I'm sorry, my brain has to go to Cordelia because of the episode Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I think it was 111, right? Where it was Cordy-centric. Out of My Mind kind of reminds me a little bit of that, but I don't think Cordy would be crossing over to Buffy. Maybe she might at some point, but it doesn't feel like it right now. So what else could happen? Out of My Mind. Maybe it could have something to do with Buffy and Riley breaking up and her trying to get him out of her mind or something. Or it might have a more literal sense of there's something taking over their minds and they have to get it out. So there are a lot of different options. I'm excited to see what they're actually going to do with it. Thank you all so much for watching this with me. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I will see you in the next episode. So bye-bye.